Hey, what's up guys? Coach Mike, play fast football. All right, today I'm going to do a video talking about backfield reports and how you can teach to the tendency and how, depending on players you have as they get older and they start to understand things a little bit more, how you can adjust some of your techniques that your kids are playing based on backfield sets and the tendencies that they might see. Make sure you check out some of our partners. All right, Dome Hats is our headwear sponsor. This is my most recent Dome hat that they mocked up for me, so you can see completely customizable. All right, football laces on the top, Orange Park Raiders. All right, with orange on the eyelets, orange stitching here, snapback, Dome logo on the side. Everything about the hat is completely customizable, so you can build your own hat on their website. You go to their website and you check out the custom online hat builder, and it's completely up to you to build your hat. Every hat has a story. Make sure you let Dome help you tell the story of your hat. Baker Sporting Goods, company I use, my coaching gear like this, our players gear, spirit packs, uniforms are distributed from Baker's. Anytime we do any online stores for fans or teachers sometimes, or anything that we want to put in an online store, we do through Baker's, so make sure you check them out. Just Play Football, which is a more powerful way to present information to your players. It's the digital software that I use. It's the play drawing diagram tool that I use if I'm going to speak at clinics, if I'm going to do any webinars. It's the tool that I use. It's the easiest that I have found, and it has never let me down before. I absolutely love it. You can build in quizzes on your playbook and your game plan so that your kids, you can find an understanding of what your kids actually know rather than them just shaking their head yes or no, and then you get onto the field and realize they don't really know, but nobody asks questions. You can actually quiz them. You can see who answers the quiz, how long they spent on it, who's been watching. Great feature. Make sure you check out Just Play GameStrat, sideline replay system we use. If you're looking for a highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, make sure you check out GameStrat. We have never had one issue with the product. It's been user error on our part. We absolutely love it. Would never switch. All right, as long as GameStrat's around, that's who we're using. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. Get thousands of reps without needing a partner. Elbows in, thumbs up. Add some footwork to it. Make sure your eye's in the right place. Different tensions in the coils or the springs that make it harder to lev the pad in as kids get stronger. All right, in the off season, during the season, you want to work on striking. You'd love to do it. You don't always want to be body on body. DifferenceUSA is the way to do it. HighandTight ball security training aid that we use. It's got sensors inside the panels. The ball has to be held in the proper position with the proper points of pressure in order to hear that auditory beep. When you get that ball where it belongs and you hear the beep, you know that you've got it right. Make your running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, whoever it is, make them go through drills, bag work, agility, whatever it is. Hold that ball and it beeps as they're doing the drill or as they're doing agility. Sometimes running backs or skill players, as they run or move, they tend to lose that position, so you can do drills with them. Make sure you hear the beep the whole time so they know where the ball belongs. You hear us getting better, check out HighandTight. Okay, and then as always, Twitter, CoachMac8740 if you want to check me out on Twitter, some of the things we do there. So when I talk about backfield reports, what I mean is, where are the backs? One back, two back, where are they located? What are they doing? All right, today I'm going to be talking more specifically about, the tailback in general. We'll talk a little bit. I've got a sniffer drawn up here, and I'll talk to you a little bit about, the obvious tendencies you'll get from there. But what I've done is I've drawn up kind of a chart here, okay? And you can do this however you want with your players, all right? But I've drawn up a chart with 1, all right, being deep, 2 being even, and 3 being in front of the quarterback. All right, so a lot of times with our players, we talk about deep, even, front, all right, but I've drawn up a little chart here, 1, 2, 3, and then A, B, C. All right, so A would be A gap or B gap or C gap, or you can break that down to where A is, maybe inside leg of the guard, B is outside leg of the guard, C is inside leg of the tackle. All right, what you're doing is you're building any way you want to chart it. We've talked about wide or tight or things like that. The communication to your players is all totally up to you. I broke it down for this video in a 1, 2, 3 ABC scenario. All right, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to, as we go through film, chart the tendency of where the back is and then the plays that the other team likes to run when the back is in those positions. Can they run their entire offense with the back in those positions? Back here, I put a P. So if the back is in the pistol, you can label that as a P. So if you had a simple chart like this, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and then you put a P or whatever you want to do in the back, all right, if you had a coach that was responsible for charting or however you break your defensive staff up, you're going to have somebody that's responsible for backfield reports, and they're going to chart where that back is. And this is a very simple way to do it: 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. And on each play, they could chart 1A, 2B, 3C, 3A, whatever it may be. All right. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go through all those plays and you're going to correlate what they run from each backfield position. And then, just like every other tendency, you're going to try and build a report so that you can get across to your players the tendencies that the offense has when the back is in certain positions. Now, again, what is a tendency? A tendency is what a team or a person, a player has, all right? It's something that they have a frequency of doing, a percentage of the time, something that they obviously tend to do. So when the back is in this spot, they tend to run these plays. That's what tendencies are. Tendencies don't necessarily tell you the play that's coming. All right, you still have to, on defense, you still have to read keys. You still have to do, all right, your job based on the keys you get. But as you create a backfield report and you generate that report, what you're trying to do is teach the tendencies to your players, because it may affect their alignment or their technique a little bit, and I'll get into that. So in other words, when the back gets in this one position, a lot of times, all right, when the back is in that, what we call, all right, so again, this was something that we would say, all right, a deep, even in front, okay? When the back gets in that deep position, most times on offense, a lot of teams have tendencies that's where their inside runs occur. Whether they're a zone team, power team, counter team, when he gets deep, all right, those are a lot of the runs that you're going to have a tendency of seeing. So when he's in that deep position, you're going to start teaching your players, based on where they are, the runs to expect based off the tendency of where the back is. Okay, so, you know, how might that affect you? All right, so just for argument's sake, if I was talking, all right, to my left safety right now, all right, and I'm going to take the receivers out for a minute. If I was talking to my left safety right now, and the back was away from me and deep, and I asked my left safety what the tendencies are when he's deep. Well, coach, the tendencies are power counter, inside zone, or inside runs. I may allow my left safety to get a little bit tighter to the box, because if they have no tendencies of outside runs to my side, and I don't really have to worry about setting the edge as much to my side based on the tendency of where the back is, I may be able to cheat my alignment a little bit. Now, if my alignment affects my coverage, then obviously that's a little bit of a different issue, all right, depending on what teams like to do. If I got a slot out here that I've got to work possibly to get underneath, or, you know, you may choose that, or you may say that you can't tighten him too much. If he's deep and he's away from me, can they RPO? Do they RPO my side? What is the tendency? All right? So the end that's on this side, if they're a read team, if there's somebody that is going to read a 5 technique or somebody, when he's deep, am I going to be the guy that they read? So now that I know if the back is on my side and he's deep, I've got to be ready to understand what my responsibilities are versus option football, all right, depending on the call that we make on defense, all right? If I'm the 3 technique, if he's deep and all the runs are I'm not worried about getting reached, I'm not worried about, the guard or the guard reaching me, or I'm, necessarily, am I worried about the tackle overtaking me depending on what the scheme is? If he's deep and everything is power counter or things like that, you may want to thicken up, all right, your 3 technique a little bit, okay? If the back is in the pistol and they're a team that likes to run stretch, I'm going to tell my 3 technique he's going to get a little bit looser now. I don't know which side they're going to run stretch to, all right, but I know that if I'm saying to him, I don't want him to get reached, if that back's in the pistol, I may widen him and put him almost more into B gap. Okay, now what I got to talk to him about, though, is if he's in the pistol and they can run stretch away from me, I can't get overtaken by that backside tackle. All right, so if I'm worried about getting overtaken by that backside tackle, now I've got to worry about how wide I can get in my technique. Because remember, if you play a 3 technique is an outside shade on the guard. But you can get them thicker, wider, you can do whatever you want. There's no rule in football that says a 3 technique has to line up here. So you can give him a tendency based on your player. If let's say the back is deep and there's a sniffer on his side, and we say with those backfield tendencies, they're going to run a bunch of power. Well, if you're worried about him getting double teamed and you want to do something, if he's a quicker kid, you may loosen him up and try and split the double team. All right? If, depending on how you teach your kids to play doubles, if you want them to be thicker, all right, on the first block or the post block, if you want to be thicker on that to beat the double team, okay? If you want them to be a little bit looser so maybe the tackle can't climb, whatever your theory is, whatever you want, you can build it in based off the backfield sets. Okay? This backside safety. If the player is deep to my side and there's a tendency, maybe they can run speed option or whatever, I've got to let him know that there's a tendency of the outside runs coming to you are going to be speed option, all right? But any inside runs away, get ready to fold inside, because with the back there, the tendency are runs, power, counter, inside zone away, whatever they may be, okay? When the back starts to get up even, now we've got to take a look, and we've got to look at, all right, when that back is even, what are they telling us? Do they have any runs that they run with him even? All right, is it more of a passing game deal when he starts to get up even? All right, if it's a tendency that's built in to where when he starts to get even, it's going to be more of a passing deal. Well, now I'm going to be alerting my back end guys that may have a responsibility on the back. Hey, be ready for that back to release. This is when they throw the ball. Hey, other guys, be ready. This is when they like to take shots. Defensive lineman, hey, if we know that back is even and that's a dead set tendency, we might elongate our stance, we might get ready to pass rush, we might widen our ends up. If they have no read game runs when he's even, if they can't run any of their power counter inside run game when he's even, we can change the technique we play with our defensive linemen or our backers or our safeties. It's up to you as a coach. You can do whatever you want, but you're building it off of a report and a tendency that's in the backfield. Now, when he starts to get in front, now you've got to start talking to you guys about, all right, look, when he starts to get his heels on that quarterback's toes, now we're starting to look at crossing the quarterback's face. Outside runs this way, power reads, things like that. Maybe even midline theories where he's going to cross face and they're going to leave an interior technique unblocked, right? So now when he's up front, if he's up front, away from me, I'm telling this safety, hey, we better start thinking about setting the edge now. We're going to get these outside runs, all right? If any outside runs come when he's, let's say, 3. So in other words, if you were building a chart, all right, and let's say for argument's sake, when they want to run those outside runs, they put them up front and wide, all right? And your coach building the tendency sheet, say that alignment is a 3C, and out of that alignment, all right, they have a huge power read tendency, let's say for argument's sake. Okay, just for argument's sake. Now you start talking to your kids. That safety that's away from that back, I'm going to tell them, hey, we better be ready to start setting the edge now, because when he's up front, tendency is outside runs coming our way. That's our responsibility. That backside safety, I'm going to start telling him, hey, when the back is on your side up front, get ready to start folding in the box to help us with quarterback runs. You're not going to help us on outside runs away. And with him up front on your side, they have no outside runs to you. They don't run speed option with him from up there, all right, unless they run. Now, do they run quarterback wide zone, quarterback stretch? If they do, those are the things that you got to build in. But for argument's sake, if they didn't run quarterback lead stretch or when the back is in what we call this 3C, to this safety, he's on my side and he's in front of the quarterback. All right, if all the tendencies are outside runs away, read game runs, this guy's going to be tighter to the box, and I'm going to let him know, get ready to start folding when you read your run keys, because all the runs for you are going to be fold fits because everything is going to go away. This safety, I'm going to start telling, hey, you may want to be ready to start setting the edge. You may want to be ready to, for those outside runs coming. If we're a 2-high team, and whether it's quarters or 2-read or whatever we're doing, this free safety now has got to be alerted, because now you might get a crack here where I got to replace. All right, so that backfield tendency, that backfield report is going to help me do some different things. Okay, so if I have a 5 technique sitting here, and that back is in front and away, and they're a power read team, that 5 technique had better understand how we want him to play power read, because he should be alerted right now that the back is up front and away from me. All right. I've got to understand that I'm getting power read. If they have no backside read game, this 5 technique here, we may allow him, when we get that set, we may alert him that, hey, if you get the hinge from the tackle, go ahead and see if you can beat it under his face. They have nothing from that set that goes outside of you. So we can change, all right, We can change our alignment a little bit. We can change our mindset a little bit. We can give our kids an approach to defeat certain things based on the tendencies of the backfield set. All right, so deep, even, in front. Then when you watch film with the kids, you're going to be going over those things over and over again. Hey, look at the back. He's deep. What do you think you're going to get? Show it to him. There it is. Power counter. Inside zone. Hey, look at the back. Where is he? He's in front. What are we going to get? Power read or midline, right? So out of this set, you may get teams that go outside run here and maybe on the backside, maybe they'll midline this guy here, right? So maybe they'll go like stretch or outside zone rules on the front side. So maybe they'll work some type of stretch or outside zone rules here, right? And then on the backside, okay, they might work something to where they go up to backer and base, and they're going to read the one technique or the 2-eye or whatever you play. Well, that week you got to let that kid know. You got to alert him and say, all right, listen to me. When the back is on your side and the linebackers are telling you he's up, or we're communicating that that back is up, you better be ready for midline. If you're left unblocked, here's your responsibility. We can adjust maybe that week, and we can tell him, hey, if the back is up on that side, I want you in a shade. If the back is up on that side, I definitely want you to be in a 2, all right, or a 1, a 1 or a 2-eye, however you want to look at it. You can not only adjust his alignment, but you can let him know with the back there, you better understand if you're unblocked, what is your job in the option game. All right, so you're building in off of the backfield sets. You're building in teaching tendencies to your players that eventually, as you get better and older at what you're doing, they can get wider, they can get, whatever the deal is, if they understand where the back is. All right, so like the 3 technique. If the 3 technique knows that with the back over here, all right, he's not going to get any zone runs away from him, and you want to play him a little bit thicker, all right, or even if you want to play him a little bit wider per se, because you're not worried about him getting overtaken by the backside tackle, because they don't, with the backfield set that way, they don't have any theories that involve the backside tackle overtaking him. It's all runs coming at him or some other deal. The back gets up here, or let's just say, argument's sake, the pistol. Okay? They get in the pistol. You got different choices with your 3 technique. If you don't want him to get reached, back in the pistol, tell your 3 technique to line up in the B gap or a little bit wider. If your 3 technique is a guy that can 2-way go, now you can tell them, hey, when they're in the pistol, we're not really sure if we're going to get stretched one way or the other, so go ahead and get yourself real thick, and if you get stretched your way, I'll allow you to backdoor it. If you get stretched away from you, now that you're thicker, it's going to be harder for that tackle to try and overtake you and that guard to climb. Right? So maybe with your 3 technique versus a wide zone team, if you allow him to 2-gap some things, if they're in the pistol, your 3 technique's going to get real heavy and real thick, because if their tendency out of the pistol is wide zone, all right, and he can backdoor it, you're okay with front side zone, him going backdoor, and with him being tighter to the guard, it's going to be harder for the tackle to overtake him. If you're a 1-gap team that's dead set on that kid not getting reached, and from the pistol it's a wide zone team, then you widen that 3 technique and go, look, if that back's in the pistol, your ass got to get in the B gap, you got to get wider, you're not getting reached no matter what happens. All right, so as a coach, you're building in whatever you want to build in, but you're teaching it off of a report and a tendency. We always see coaches talk about tendencies: first down, second down, run, pass, strong, weak, left, right. Backfield tendencies are one of the, I don't want to say, it's like a hidden gem to me. A lot of people study them, a lot of people look at them, but sometimes I feel like it goes unnoticed when you're watching some things. You start watching hash marks. You start watching where they are on the field, shot plays when they're backed up, or what do they like to do in short red zone, all right? You start looking at right and left. Are they predominantly right-handed? Do they go to the left? You start looking at field and boundary. And a lot of times while you're going through all those things, you forget to build yourself a backfield report tendency. Because to me, it's huge. Like, we play teams that with the sniffer, all right, and we're a team that has a lot of tendencies off the sniffer, and I do the same thing on offense. If the sniffer has to kick somebody out, he might be a little bit inside here. If the sniffer's running a route or trying to get arc release, he might be wider here. If the sniffer, all right, so let's just draw that there. If he's going backside, sometimes maybe to kick or maybe backside into a bluff route. Maybe he tightens himself so he can get across there. Offensive coaches do the same thing. They're trying to give their kids a chance, ability-based, play-based. How can I get you in the best position, right? So from out there, it's really tough to kick out and end on power. You need a really good player. So when he gets out there, you're starting to talk to your ends and say, hey, I don't know if you're going to get, if you get power now, it's going to be power read or something else. I don't think he's going to cut off. I don't think he's going to kick out from that position. But when he's in here, okay, when he gets in here, now you got to start thinking to yourself, hey, they're heavy gap. When he's in there, it's heavy gap and it's power. If he moves any tighter, it's going to be counter or something because he's going the other way. All right, you'd be surprised how many times if you looked at the alignment of the sniffer, you looked at the alignment of the tailback, what a great tendency report you can build. All right, so you chart it just like anything else. You put a coach responsible for it. You go ahead, you know, like I said, if you want to, and you make a 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. All right, and you'd be surprised how many times you'll go back and watch, and when the back is wide, it's certain things. When he's tight, it's certain things. When he's deep, it's only these things. When he's in front, it's only these things. Build that into your tendencies, build that into your teaching, build that into your reports, make somebody responsible for it, and now you give your defensive players one more thing to kind of get an edge. Remember, a tendency is just something to help your kids. Maybe we can loosen the 3 technique, maybe we can tighten the 3 technique. Maybe we can loosen the 5, maybe we can tighten the 5. When the ball gets snapped, that kid still has to play some type of block rec, some type of stimulus. Because the tendency is just something that we think, based on the alignment, the offense has a tendency, a high percentage to do. Do they have to do that? No, they can do something else. We're just building it off of film. If you're an offensive coach, what we always try to do to the best of our ability, all right, for me at least, is if I had any outside runs like buck sweep, when I used to run buck sweep, I used to try and get the mesh from behind the quarterback to the best of my ability. If I had to step up and across, whatever I needed to do, so that we tried to avoid when we're here, all right, it's zone or it's power counter, but as soon as we get here, it's all outside runs because other teams have coaches, other teams have films, you're trying to get away from those tendencies. All right, but as a coach, sometimes it's hard to avoid because your kids have a skill set, you got to work to their skill set. If you got to tighten the kid to kick an end out, you got to tighten them, you don't really have a lot of choices. So build a tendency report, build a backfield report, put a coach responsible for it, teach it to your kids. Make them see it in film. Make them see it in your scout groups. Make them see it in practice. When you drop your scout cards, you make sure that that tailback on the scout team knows what deep, even, and in front is, because if you're teaching your kids that tendency, you have to be able to see it in practice. All right, and then again, it could be safeties, it could be 3 techniques, 5 techniques, 1 techniques, inside linebackers. Now you can start adjusting. You know, can you make a call? If depending on how quickly a team plays with tempo or whatever, can you necessarily make a call based on where the back is? I don't know if you can make a call, but I can tell you what you can do. You can have check with me blitzes based on what the back is. We had one season, all right, where I had check with me blitzes off the sniffer. And I had my Mike linebacker. If the sniffer was anywhere outside the tackle, we were sending 1 blitz. If he was anywhere inside the tackle, we were sending another blitz, because the team's tendencies off of where the sniffer was were so dead set that we could get the right blitz into the formation just based on where the sniffer was. So I would call, like, I would make whatever that choice. Maybe I'd point it like this to my Mike linebacker, and he knew, and all my players that looked, they knew that that was going to be the choice blitz. They lined up, sniffer lined up, and the Mike backer said, hey, rain, rain, rain. Sniffer lined up somewhere else, and he said, hey, lightning, lightning, or, you know, whatever it is, razor, razor. All right, you can build in blitz check with me's off of tendencies. That you can certainly do. I don't know if you could call a defense and wait till the back lines up, all right, because you may run out of time. But you can teach your players, once you make your defensive call, what to expect. Okay, to me, like especially with the safeties, I think it's huge for them to understand, if I got a back that's in front on my side, I think it's very important that this kid understands that he's going to be a fold player way more often than he's going to be an edge setter out of that set. All right, so maybe I tighten him, maybe I change. I'm trying to get in this kid's mindset that from this backfield set, when this back goes across, we're going to get a lot of quarterback runs in here that I may need your help on. All right, I'm not going to need your help on the edge. You better understand with him there. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to talk to my players and get them, based on the sets, communicating and understanding on, hey, when the back's there, I got to expect these things. I still have to read a key. I still have to play my assignment. I can't just walk up and blitz. I can't just, do whatever I want. I have to still play what I read, but in my mind, I may be tightening, loosening, deepening, shortening, whatever it may be. I may be changing my technique a little bit because we went through the backfield report and the tendency tells me when he's there, I'm going to expect these things, and coach is going to let me cheat a little bit so I can play the tendency. So hopefully if you guys don't do that, hopefully it's something that helps. All right, if you do it, all right, obviously, hopefully something along the lines in this video help you understand backfield reports, tendency reports, how you can change techniques with your players. I don't think it's not a whole defense, it's not a scheme thing. It's just something that can help put your players in a little bit better position to make plays. All right, so if you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button. All right, if you turn your notifications on, you'll know every time I do a video. Thumbs up, thumbs down, let me know if you like it or not. It helps me with my content. As always, leave a message. If I can respond to the message, I will respond to the message. If the message is something stupid, like I just hack somebody's Instagram account and you're just trying to get information to people for whatever reason, I'm not going to respond to you. If it's a message about what we're actually doing, I always respond to everyone I see. If you're playing football right now, good luck. If you're getting ready for the spring, good luck. Stay safe. Do everything you need to do. All right? And remember, you won't play well until you play fast. I appreciate everything you guys do for me. See you next time.